Hi, I'm Bob.
And I'm Sherry.
And this is Mostly Politics with Bob and Sherry.
And today we're interviewing Veronica Steinkirchner, who is currently the precinct committee woman for Oakmont District 4. Good morning, Veronica, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Sherry.
Morning.
So, Veronica, tell us a little bit about yourself and what are the position you're currently running?
Well, my name is Veronica Steinkirchner. I'm a retired financial advisor. I currently live in Oakmont. We raised our daughter in Fox Chapel, and I got involved in politics by chance. So 2 years ago, was elected precinct committee woman, and I've become involved a lot more in county politics. So I've been asked to get on the ballot for Allegheny County State Committee member, Allegheny County at large, by several people. So they went out and got my petition signed to ensure that I'd be on the ballot. So that's how I got there.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you explain the structure of the party and the different committees and what they do?
Sure. Well, this is a two-party structure in the United States. We have the Democrats and the Republicans, and both are structured the same. There are committeemen in each precinct. It goes back to Lincoln, when he indicated that we need to break down the structure so that we have people locally who have the responsibility of meeting with the voters, finding out what they need, and keeping them informed. So every voting district, and some are called districts and some are called precincts, have a representative, one man and one woman. These people are elected in the primary. So Democrats will vote for their Democratic committeemen and Republicans will vote for their committeemen. And a precinct committeeman is part of the local committee. And those committees are designed to inform voters, get people out to vote, register their party, and just keep the values of the party alive. So the elected committeemen locally then in turn vote for county committee people. So there's a county chair, a county vice chair, a county treasurer, and a county secretary. And those people then form what's called a caucus. Allegheny County is in the Southwest Caucus of the state of Pennsylvania. And that's a number of different counties that meet regularly to interview candidates. You probably have seen, the poll votes, the straw polls for different people running. Now, the state committee people are then also elected in the primary, and the state committee people in each area, it's for every Senate district, state Senate district in Pennsylvania, there are 2 men and 2 women that are elected. And then there's the county at large. The reason for that is that the county is populated to such a degree that they need to have an extra committee person to get involved, to go around the county and work with all the committees. So then the state committee also has the state chair, state vice chair, state treasurer, and state secretary. And those people are the ones that work toward policy for the party and onward to the Republican National Committee. And you look at this triangle like this, and at the top is the head of the RNC. And then below that are the state, the county, and the committee people. So actually the base of that triangle has the most people in it. And those are the people who technically have the power. So you should reverse that triangle with the masses, the county, all the precinct people at the top who then vote for that little person at the bottom. And then delegates are selected to make the selection on the presidential candidates and so on. I find that most people don't know. There are 78 million people who want to be involved. They just don't know how. And when I went around getting my signatures, so many people actually invited me in to sit down and talk to them about it. They want to know, and they just don't realize that there is such a thing. I'm lucky that I've had a couple of mentors help me. A woman that first got me started to run as a committee person, and some of the county chairs in the area have helped me, as well as the fellow who's endorsing me, Dan Schultz, who is the creator of Precinct Strategy. He is he's the county committeeman in Maricopa County in Arizona, which we know is very well known, and a state committeeman. He wrote this book, How to Make a Change, and that's the whole purpose. How can we change the party? It's with the committee people.
So, Veronica, you have mentioned there's several people ask you to run for the Allegheny County at large for the committee.
Yes.
Why do you think people ask you to run? What do you do that makes you make people think that you be qualified for a committeeman for a county at large?
Essentially, people want to change in the party politics, and I have gotten to know a lot of people throughout the county. Initially, starting with working on the rallies for Trump and connecting with like-minded America First committee people. So I was at a lunch and I went there and people said, you have to be, we want another person on the ballot besides what we have. Will you run? And I said, sure. So they went out and got my signatures. They got double the amount that were needed. And then my petitions were taken to Harrisburg, and I got on the ballot.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
How many signatures did you need?
You needed 100.
100? Okay, great.
And I had almost 200.
Well, that's really great.
So from what you described, and you summarized it with people want change in the party, and you said that the people really are at the top. Okay, because they're sort of driving everything. Have you seen where some local committees seem to be more top-down, where the leadership of the committee chooses a candidate and expects everyone to support them and things like that? Maybe less bottom-up driven?
I don't think so much on local committees. It would be more at the national level. I mean, while I was waiting, I just got a call from Washington. Please donate to the Republican committee for blah, 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 to get the majority in Congress. And I want to say wait a minute, I don't have to give to a national fund. I'm giving to my own candidate that I want, and I'm working for that candidate. You'll see in the it's a big difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. No one's better than the other, but the Democrats seem to follow the lead from the top. The Republicans take a different stance when you're a senator or a congressman. They want you, as the elected representative, to deal with the issues of your locality. One size doesn't fit all, even though everybody has the same view.
And Veronica, you're also the founder of the Oakmont Republican Committee.
Well, I'm
Tell us a little bit about that.
The rebirth of the committee. It existed, and then it kind of went by the wayside.
So tell us a little bit about
How
did you brought it back, and why did you want to bring it back? And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I had just moved to Oakmont and was the only elected committee man in Oakmont. So somebody on the old committee had been on the committee for years, came to me and said, all right, you're the only elected committee man, you have to be the chair. And I said, but I don't know anybody here. I just moved here. So actually, it was through Carrie Del Rosso that the people got together. She sent out information saying, let's all get together and have a meeting to see who wants to be involved. And that's pretty much how it started. And it was fun because at that time it was local elections here in the municipality. So a lot of people that wanted to run or that were very concerned with local politics got involved. And everyone said, well, nobody knows who we are. And that's one thing I said, okay, I'll fix that. They're going to know who we are. And that's the year, the summer that I planned the We Support the Police event. And it was bipartisan, and I got Democrats and Republicans both to come. It was not a party rally. It was for the police. And I got to know so many people, and so many of the, within 10 miles of Oakmont, there are about 20 police stations. And I personally invited each of those, and I went to visit them. It was a good experience. So the whole thing is to get involved with the public. I walk my dog in the morning and I see people, and that's how I get connected. I talk to them, I'll sit on their porches, and that's what the committee man is. Think of the old days when there were no phones, there were not the internet. They would get together as a group in your little neighborhood. And a precinct is not that big. Each committee man does not have that many people to be responsible for. So you should get to know them and help them understand who the candidates are so they can make a good decision when they do go to vote.
Have you attended local committees other than the ones that you have been appointed to or elected to?
I'd love to go. I'd love to go to other committees. Yeah, I like to see how they operate. As a matter of fact, I was really lucky to have been sent as a proxy to the Southwest Caucus meeting, where I got to meet a lot more people and see how that all operates. I think it's important because we always laugh about it. We say, we'll go to these events for candidates, or we support each other. I got a call from another committee saying, I need to get a location for an event for someone who's running. I can't, my location canceled out on me. Can you help? So I say, yeah, I'll help. So we laugh and I say, we're all riding a different bus, but we end up at the same place. And we end up at these meetings and these campaign endorsements and things of that nature. And I've gotten to know a lot of people.
Are local committee meetings open to any Republicans who want to attend?
Any registered Republican or someone who's interested, because that's a way to get people to join. Yeah, they're open. Some obviously more successful than others. I mean, there are some committees that will get 30 people at a meeting, and those people are all very vocal. And there are other committees that maybe only get 5 people. So I've seen other instances where some committees combine their efforts so that when they do have an event, you at least know that you're going to have a larger number of people.
Now, does that include the regular meetings? Do they typically allow, so if a voter's interested in finding out how to get involved in the party, can they just show up to a committee meeting?
Yeah. Actually, there are two different. Some are on the same day, some are other days. The actual committee men who do the votes of what transpires. So let's say in Oakmont there are 6 districts, so technically there would be 12 voting committee men. They would have what's called a business meeting. We're going to talk about our strategy, what our plans for, and then there's also the public meeting, which is open to the public. You talk about affairs that are going on, bring in speakers and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So these committeemen and the position you're running, are they paid position or are they non-paid
No,
positions?
it's strictly volunteer. And you can put in as much or as little as you want. But there is competition between committees. There is an award called the Reagan Award that's given once a year at the Allegheny County Republican Committee dinner. It's called the Lincoln Day Dinner. And the committee that has done the most to promote being a Republican committee wins this award. They actually get a bust of Reagan. It's pretty impressive and very coveted. And there actually is a scorecard. How many do your committeemen come to the meetings regularly? Have you raised money? Have you elected officials? That sort of thing. So it's not competitive, but everybody would love to win that award and be recognized.
And Veronica, how long have you been a Republican? Have you been lifelong Republican? Have you switched at some point?
I'll tell you this. I campaigned for McGovern when I was in college, and so things change, and I find a lot of people that
is that
I
when
know,
you switched?
Well, you build a career, you buy your house, you raise your family, and everything changes, and you see things differently. And it's funny because I do go to people that I know how they vote, I know how they think. And I said, will you sign my petition? And they get ready and they go, I'm a Democrat because I was in college and I never changed it. So in Pennsylvania, the primary is a closed primary, which means you can only vote for your party. But in the general, you can vote, obviously, for anybody. So if you align yourself as a Republican or a Democrat, it's really good to be registered in that party so that you can participate in the primary, which is where the candidates are actually selected.
When did you switch? When did you change to a Republican and why?
Probably when I got married. My husband's family was very conservative. And we just, thought a lot alike. And, my parents were Democrats, and I look back and I realized how they thought. They would not vote Democrat today. And my mom and my husband would sit on the couch at night and watch O'Reilly and Hannity, and they really got into good discussions because they both felt the same way. And, when you have children, you want, I look back, I remember when my daughter was in high school at Fox Chapel, and I had to go. And that was in the old days when you could just walk in the office and say hi and hang out and go to your, get your things. I had to, bring my daughter another pair of contact lenses. And I was driving home and I said to myself, this is so nice. This nice neighborhood. I grew up in Butler. And I said, now I feel like she's growing up the way I did. And that's when you start saying, I like the way I was brought up. And I want to see that. My daughter is very helpful to me. She goes to a lot of events, and she's extremely conservative, probably odd for her age group. But, it's important. I want to see her with the same things I have, and I go to my class reunion, and we all say, how did we all end up like this? One's a doctor, Mike Kelly, a congressman, we're friends from childhood. And we said, you know what it was? It was our parents. They came home from the war. They married their sweethearts. They started families. And all they cared about was that we all went to college. We all got great jobs. And, that's the greatest generation, no question. And people are changing. I remember asking Mike Kelly why he ran for Congress. And he said, well, he's got a car dealership. And he said, one day the government tried to shut down one of my dealerships. And he said, my competitors can shut me down, but the government cannot do that to me. And he just said, I decided I'm going to run. And that's kind of like the populist movement and the America First. People are saying, whoa, wait 1 minute. Don't tell me how to live my life, how to raise my children. And so, I see that happening regardless of party. It's values. It's how people want to live.
So you're active. You're very active in your party, and you're active working for different candidates' campaign. How do you decide which candidate you want to support?
Well, as I said, Dan Schultz is really a mentor to me. I follow him, and he has put forth like 3 questions. What he said, there are 3 questions he said we have to ask, and we need America First candidates. And the first one he asked is, will you put on your website that you publicly endorse the precinct committee man strategy so that people are involved, they're not blindly voting? His second question, which everyone is hot on, will you state that the 2020 election was filled with fraud? Some people, I went to the debate in Newcastle in Lawrence County, and that question was asked. There was only one candidate that flat out answered it. And the third question is really designed for state legislators. The question is, will you work to change the whole voting system? Get rid of the machines, go back to paper ballots, hand counting. Those are the kind of commitments for, America First. America First has a history. It was really an organization between 1938 and up until the bombing of Pearl Harbor. But today, the America First is, I have a voice. I am somebody. And love him or hate him, Trump was the torch that lit the firebrand in all of us to say, I'm a person, I have value, and this country was founded on we the people.
So you think America First is America, like American first, each voter,
right?
The people,
the populist movement, where it's the voters, it's the people. The government shouldn't be telling the people what to do.
That's on both sides.
The people.
Okay, you see that on both sides of the aisle.
Absolutely.
The government should, yes.
And it's not a Republican thing. It's just a belief and a value that people have.
So when you hear the word populism in the national media, it's sort of a negative thing. Do you see populism as a negative thing, or can you?
No, it's not at all. I mean, populism is clearly, defined is that no autocrats, no elitists. It's the people who do the governing. And the press went like crazy when Trump at his inauguration said, from this moment on, it's America first. And they were saying, oh my God, this guy thinks he's, the king. And it was really giving it back to the people.
Now you're running in competition with 2 pretty long-term politicians in Allegheny County, which is Mike Mullen and Sam DeMarco. Sam DeMarco is the current chairperson for the Republican Allegheny. What do you think your winning strategy will be?
Just to be upfront, positive about change, and knowing that the party needs change. People say, oh, I'm tired of the Republican Party. I don't like it. We're going to start a new party. Well, you can't do that. Financially, it just doesn't work. So the only way to change, to get rid of rhinos, is from within. And there again, it's the 400,000 committee men across the country, of which only half of those seats are filled. fill those other 200 with like-minded America First people, and you will see a change in the Republican Party. And you look back at the history of the Republican Party, it is a party of the people. People are forgetting that. They are forgetting. Mike has been a committee man for a while, and he touts that he'll win because his name's at the top of the ballot. You know, you draw for positions. Sam obviously has been around long, and I said, but I will win if people vote for the lady with the long last name, because that's how I'm going to do at meetings. They go, see that lady over there from Oakmont with the long last name.
Veronica, do you have a moral, philosophical kind of foundation or belief system that you try to live by?
Always be upfront. Don't hide anything. It'll come back and bite you. My daughter has said to me, and we've had long talks. She will be 38, and she said, "You know, Mom, when I was growing up, I knew what they were doing to young girls and young boys. They, were enticing them with movies and music, and the men hate the women and the women hate the men." And she said, "I didn't buy into that because I have an old mom." And I said, "Thank you." She said, because she just, lives by all of that, of how, my husband's family was conservative. And, we just had a really strong family. We only have one child, but three of us did a lot together. Our thing was not to go out on Saturday night, which we did, though, but it was always to include her. We did a lot of the Three Musketeers, three of us together. And you have to be, forthcoming in everything that you do.
Well, thank you. This has been a fun, light interview. And then so when can people start voting for you? And is that on May 17th?
Well, the primary is May 17th. And that's when all the committee people will be decided, precinct and state. And then, of course, the candidates that will eventually be on the general ballot will be selected at that time, too. But I do have a lot of people that came up to me in the last few days saying, "Do you have material? I'll work for you. I'll pass things out." So I think I got some networking going on, even without trying.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Yeah, our show is designed for really local candidates like you. We want to really get more people like you onto the show. So if you know anyone that's running and that would like this platform, please let them know.
Oh, absolutely. And I actually, Dan Schultz would love to be on your video. He can tell the story of being a committee man from the get-go. He went to West Point. He is an attorney, and anybody that watches Steve Bannon's War Room will see him always on there with his PC button on, precinct committee man. So I learned from him, and I'm happy that he's endorsing me. I'm very proud of that.
That's great, and we love to have him on the show. So just have him get in touch with us.
I meet with him every Sunday in a Zoom call. So
okay, that's fantastic.
Very good. Thanks, Veronica.
Thank you both so much.